Welcome to my castle, Hirado Castle. I spent the night here. You can too.
In this episode of Nick no Kyushu Tabi, I'll introduce you to a luxurious Japanese castle where you can stay overnight. And I'll guide you to some of my favorite sights and experiences in Hirado, Nagasaki. Perched atop a hill that towers over the town and harbor, Hirado Castle, also referred to as Kameoka Castle, provides stunning views of a brilliant blue sea on three sides. The Matsura clan built the first castle in 1599, only to burn it down in 1613 to gain the trust of the Tokugawa shogunate. Rebuilt between 1704 and 1718, it served as the center of the Matsura clan's rule for over 150 years. Until it was demolished in 1871 during the Meiji Restoration. The current keep was rebuilt in 1962. In the winter of 2021, Kaiju Yagura, Japan's first ever authentic castle stay, was opened. And recently, I became the lord of the castle for a night. Let me show you around. First of all, it's spacious. This is just one part of the ground floor, with an elegant glass table, sofa, and tatami mat space. And look at the hand-painted art on the walls, and the large handmade lattice divider. Almost everything is made by Japanese artisans, and much from Nagasaki and other parts of Kyushu. And the second floor? Two stylish and comfy looking beds. And there's a view of the main keep. And a view from inside the bath. The sea is literally all around you. Look, pajamas and fluffy soft housecoats and towels, complete with the Matsura clan's emblem. I knew we were going to be very, very comfortable here. But it was time to make our way across the castle grounds for dinner. Staff were already waiting outside another Yagura, Castle Watchtower, where our private chef was preparing a Japanese-French fusion meal just for us. This called for a toast. And then we were served one elegant and tasty dish after the other, with matching wines, of course. After that special meal, we were escorted on foot to the castle's main keep, which was kept open for our exclusive enjoyment until 10 p.m. After a private tour of the exhibits on the lower floors, we moved further up. The top floor had been transformed into a cozy lounge with a plush rug, comfortable chairs, and soft lights. And yes, our butler was there to pour us wine and then freshly brewed hot tea. We felt so grateful to relax and unwind in such a luxurious setting, a lord and his lady in a castle for one night. Morning came too soon, but what a sunrise view! The sky was painted with vibrant shades of pink, orange, and yellow, and the sun slowly emerged. And not a bad view from inside the bath either. Breakfast was served inside the Yagura where we had dinner the night before. Once again, staff greeted us at the gate, and then introduced an array of fresh delicacies, all artistically presented on delightful ceramics. They were almost too pretty to eat. But of course, we ate and didn't want this moment to end. Sure, the castle stay was the highlight of our trip. But hang on, here are some of the other places I recommend in Hirado. First up was a behind-the-scenes tour of the Tsutaya factory, one of only a few sanctioned producers of Hirado's signature sweet, Casdolce. Tsutaya president Matsuo-san, following an over 400-year-old unchanged recipe, demonstrated how the sweet that the Portuguese sailors introduced to Hirado over 400 years ago is made. The process begins by cutting castella sponge cake into small blocks, then dripping and coating them in premium quality, locally sourced fresh egg yolk. After the excess drips off, the pieces are gently boiled in syrup. Then blocks are tossed around in a tray of granulated sugar to add a crunchy coating. Back in the day, eggs and sugar were very expensive, and Casdolce lavishly uses both. So it was called the illusionary sweet and only eaten by the Lord of Hirado himself. But don't worry, these days anyone can pick up a box at Setaya's shop in Hirado town. Made up of several islands, Hirado has plenty of coastline and beaches. At the Seaview Ranch Riding Club, we enjoyed a Japanese cowboy-style lunch of steak and shrimp before saddling up for a ride. We met our horses at the corral. Mine was named Samson, and Emiko rode Texas. After getting settled and warmed up, we enjoyed trotting up and down the beach, soaking in the views of the sea and nature in all directions. Back at the stable, we hung out with our new friends before beginning on our next adventure. Hirado is well known as a center of commercial and sport fishing. Near the Ikitsuki Bridge, Ayaka Suisan, a multi-generational family of fishers, runs a thriving business out of a tiny port. Their unique approach involves taking tourists on their regular fishing trips. It's not for tourists, it's with tourists. Guests wear the same gear as the fishers, leave at the same time, just before sunrise, and help pull in the nets. Ayaka Sui-san has been hosting these authentic experiences for 20 years, so they know how to make it fun, safe, and educational. Here I am scooping out some fish out of the big net. Here's a huge snapper. Emiko is holding a snapper too. Back on land, we ate breakfast with the fishers in their cafeteria. The menu? You guessed it, fish. Sashimi, of course, and tons of it. Boiled squid. Grilled fish too. The rough weather and waves, the hustling and bustling crew, the sounds and the smells. This was an unforgettable experience. With Hirado's long history as an international port town, with connections with China and the Korean Peninsula dating back over 1,000 years, and then with the European nations in the 16th century, Hirado can claim many first-in-Japan things, such as beer. First came to Hirado on the British ship Clove in 1613. Paint. The exterior of the Dutch trading house was painted when it was completed in 1609. Tobacco. The missionary Pietro Nimes de Castro brought tobacco leaves to Hirado in 1601. And bread. First appeared on a Portuguese ship that called on Hirado in 1550. And Zen Buddhism and green tea also first appeared in Hirado. We visited Senkoji, a small Rinzai Zen temple on Route 19. The head priest kindly invited us in, and after saying a prayer, he began to explain the temple's history and showed us art, photos, and news clippings. Eisai, a Japanese Buddhist priest who founded the Rinzai School of Zen, visited here on the return of his second trip to China. Across the road from Senkoji, there's a small patch of trees where Eisai is said to have planted Japan's first tea trees. Then further down the hill, there's a stone and a monument to mark where Eisai first demonstrated Rinzai Zen meditation in Japan. Next, we visited Tabira Catholic Church, situated on a hilltop overlooking Hirado Strait. Christianity was introduced to Hirado in 1550 by the Portuguese Jesuit missionary Francis Xavier. After being banned in 1587, Christians were persecuted for over 2 centuries. Tabira Church boasts graceful architectural lines that blend seamlessly with the sea and sky. Constructed in 1917, it is one of Japan's oldest churches and a nationally designated site for cultural heritage. Designed and constructed by Tetsukawa Yosuke and the Catholic faithful in a Romanesque style of red brick and with some lumber. It's just one of several notable churches in Hirado. Back in town, we visited the Matsura Historical Museum on a hillside overlooking the town. The museum is dedicated to preserving and showcasing the history and culture of the Matsura clan, a powerful feudal clan that ruled over the Hirado domain for over 400 years. The Matsura family collection has passed from generation to generation and is said to total some 30,000 unique items, including records of the Christian purge. And there's some pretty shocking imagery to be seen. Inside a traditional tea house with a thatched roof and all-natural construction, we participated in 2 hands-on experiences. First, we made Japanese aroma pouches by threading together fabric and adding a bag of our own concoction of natural ingredients. Then we made higashi, a simple traditional sweet. I used a mold for a wild boar and seashell. And with some matcha, it tasted pretty good. After so many experiences, we were ready for a break. So we crossed the bridge to Ikitsuki Island, and we drove down the famed Ikitsuki Sunset Way, a road often used in the filming of television commercials. The scenery reminds me a bit of Hawaii. After taking in the majestic views of the mountain faces, pasture land, and the sea, we pulled over for a picnic of fresh strawberries and sea breeze.
So our trip in Hirado has come to an end, but we had a great time. We stayed in a castle. We had our own private keep, a yagura to ourselves, beautiful furnishings, beautiful art, all kinds of details, comfort, and a bath with a view of the bay and of the sunrise. It was out of this world. Everywhere we went in Hirado, beautiful scenery. There's so much history here and great food as well. So if you haven't gone to Hirado yet in Nagasaki, put it on your list.